Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival.
All right, that was Wasted by Ellefson. And I've got to tell you, I'm digging this covers album so far. And on the phone, I got somebody who's has something to do with this album, actually. The guy it's named for, David Ellefson. How you doing, Dave?
Hey, I'm doing well, thank you. Nice to talk to you again.
So, there's a lot of songs on this album. How'd this project come about?
Well, Tom and I started talking about it in early June. We were looking at the calendar of our original Ellefson LP record that was set to come out in October, and we just decided with no touring to support it and the state of the world as it is right now, we may as well push that back into early 2021. And in the meantime, we wanted to put some type of release out, and, we had just put out the cover of Post Malone's Over Now, and had really good success with that at radio, and fans were really digging it. And that was a different approach because we took a current song and took it into a metal world and brought it current with a very different fan base. And so we thought, let's do some more covers. And in this case, we went the opposite direction. We went back in time and brought forth songs that inspired me, inspired Tom. For him, songs like Free Will Burnin', Love Machine by Wasp, things like that were songs that, are of his generation. For me, I went way back. Things like Bachman Overdrive, Not Fragile.
Oh, yeah.
Nazareth, Love Hurts, which is probably the, most ultimate rock ballad ever.
Oh, yeah.
And then, even things like Sweet F.A. from Sweets and, things like that really went back into my childhood. I mean, things that inspired me to play bass, not even things that I was playing bass to. Things that inspired me to pick up the bass. So, this album covers a lot of years, several decades, and I think, first of all, they're great songs, so they stood the test of time. And the other thing about it is these weren't necessarily like radio cuts. We went to some deep album cuts that us hard rockers and metalheads always really liked, and I think, Wasted there was one of them. That I think everybody of my age group who's in a rock band unanimously agrees is probably one of their favorite Def Leppard songs ever.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That was like the funnest one when I was in a band back in the day. That was one of the songs, off of that first album you had to play, man. Just a great, great riff.
That was the one. Yeah, so rather than doing what I call the bar standards, which we all know and we've all played in a lot of different settings,
oh, yeah.
We chose to go into some, rather than playing Highway to Hell, which we've all played in bar bands and cover bands, we chose to go into Riff Raff, which, well, quite honestly, was the first AC/DC song I had heard, because the record that I bought was If You Want Blood, You Got It.
Oh, I love that.
Scott.
Love that album.
So that was the very first AC/DC song I ever heard. And then, then I heard, obviously that whole record. I bought that record, took it home, and of course that kicked it off.
Yeah.
And then I heard Sin City, and, of course that was the Power Age tour that they were on.
Oh, yeah.
So, and that was when I saw them, was on the Power Age tour. So, to me, I kind of went back into the records that got me into that artist. And, so again, Desolation Boulevard by Sweet, that live album by AC/DC, Not Fragile by Bachman Turner Overdrive, Love Hurts by Nazareth, was on, so I kind of went to those records and picked those songs off those albums.
So how'd you pick who was you got a lot of special guests on this too, so how'd you decide, or did they decide what songs they wanted to be on?
Well, our band is really good. I mean, Andy Martingelli and our drummer Paolo Cardi over in Italy. We also have a U.S. touring band, which is members of Dead by Wednesday, who are on Combat Records.
Mm-hmm.
So those two guys, Dave Sharp and Opus from Dead by Wednesday, they are the band that plays guitar and drums on the Crocus track, Eat the Rich.
Okay.
All the rest of them are the Italian band, and we have a lot of friends who are drummers. We got some of the best drummers in the world. I mean, we got Dave Lombardo on Riff Raff. We got Dirk Buren on Love Machine. We've got Jimmy DeGrasso on Nailed to the Gun. We got Charlie Benante on Alviderzane and Holiday in Cambodia.
Yeah.
We managed to get, and Dave McLean is on several tracks as well, Free Will Burning. And so we got, these phenomenal drummers, and of course Bumblefoot is essentially always, has always been there for us. It was really the beginning of summer. Everybody realized all of our summer tours were gone. So it was the second wave of sort of depression, if you will, that came across the music business, just going, shit, we're all supposed to be on tour right now, and we're shut down for probably another year. So Tom was on the phone with Charlie Benante and said, Charlie, you want to play in some tracks? He goes, sure, I'd love to. And that's really how it happened. Everybody was just like, yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'm supposed to be out touring right now. Yeah, I'm stuck at home. I'd be happy to jam on something. So that's the spirit of this whole record, is that everybody just coming together to say, hey, you know what, let's make it about the music. Let's make it about our friendship. And together as a community, we pull together to lift each other up.
Nice. I like I'm really looking forward to hearing some of these songs, like Love Me Like a Reptile with Doro singing. Is that right?
Right.
Oh, how can I want to hear her sing all of the Motorhead catalog.
There's a couple of songs. Doro was good friends with Lemmy, and of course Doro's she's a tough girl. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
She's a fighter, and yet the sweetest woman you'd ever know. And so she's there's two hooks to that I love. One is Doro, of course, so that we get to reconnect. And we have just recently reconnected on the Mega Cruise back in October. I hosted a big all-star jam, and Doro and her band participated in that. So Doro and Tom got to sing a Kiss song together on the cruise, and that sort of connected them, which so that worked well on this. And the other thing is I talk about Motorhead, and again, rather than doing kind of the usual Ace of Spades and Overkill and some of the more common ones, I went for a deeper cut, in particular because the Ace of Spades was the first Motorhead record I heard, and it changed my life as a Motorhead fan. And I used to play, me and my friend Greg Handovit, who moved to L.A. with me and essentially helped start Megadeth. He and I used to play that song in our cover bands growing up in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
So I asked Greg to join us, and for him to, so he also sings on that track and plays rhythm guitar and some lead guitar on that track. So,
cool.
So I got to bring a childhood friend in as well as a longtime friend in Doro, and really just, became this wonderful moment for all of us together on kind of an unsuspected deep cut Motorhead track.
Nice. I'm also looking forward to hearing Nailed to the Gun. I'm a big Fight fan. I loved them. And you've even got Satchel, Russ Parrish, playing on it, which is pretty cool right there, man.
Well, yeah, the thing with that is when I had a little band called F5 back in the 2000s, we had covered Nailed to the Gun, and Jimmy DeGrasso had cut the track with us and was in the video. And I just happened to see it push across my phone one day. I got a YouTube notification. This was back in June. And I watched the video, and I went, you know what, that's a great song. And I hit Andy Martingale. I said, dude, let's carve that into a session file, and let's do that song. And then I'll get Jimmy to play on it again. And then Tom said, dude, we got to get Russ Parrish because, he was in the band. He's our friend. And so we got Russ. And then Jimmy called me and said, hey, I just did a track with Andrew Freeman, who's the singer for Last in Line. And he's a huge fan of that song and would love to do a guest vocal on it. I said, done. So,
Nice.
that's how easy this comes together. It's just all a bunch of, I mean, granted, we're all famous, but we're all just musicians, and we all share the same record collection, and we all have each other's phone numbers and emails, and we tour together, and we see each other on the road, and we're just musicians who grew up and actually got a chance to do this professionally, But it's no different than me calling up Greg Handebut when I was 15 and saying, "Hey, Greg, want to come over? Let's play Love Me Like a Reptile today." Quite honestly, the spirit of it hasn't changed one bit.
Nice. So, besides writing and recording, I mean, we've all had a lot of extra time at home on our hands. Have you found anything new to do? New hobbies like gardening, or I can see you out there.
Well, I've been training for the last couple of years, and I've been since I got sober back in 1990. I've been with a trainer and taking care of my health. But yeah, I mean, I just started getting into some more martial arts and kickboxing, which that's been fun. Last week I was over in California and I decided to try surfing again, which has been fun.
Ooh, nice.
I mostly ride alongside the surfboard rather than on top of it, but at least I'm trying, As a kid from the farm in Minnesota, we didn't do a lot of surfing,
No.
I don't like fishing, so I'm down for surfing, So honestly, this summer I've made a couple trips to California, which have been sort of, as always in my life, they're kind of work/vacations. But that's how I roll. I get bored if I have too many days off, and so I like to just be productive. And to me, it's always about it's about people connections, I like to stay connected to people, and of course that's what we're doing through this time is, Tom's here in Arizona this week, so he was over at my house last night. We did a live stream, and we actually wrote 2 new songs last night. We're going to go in the studio today and actually track at least one, maybe both of those, and kind of get those set for the next Ellefson record. And because one thing that I think this cover record did is it gave us a little space away from our original song album that we've been working on. And when you get some time to step away from it, you kind of start to see, you remember the things that were good, and you go, gosh, those are really good. And then you hear other things, you kind of go, that still needs some work there. And we realized we still needed to write a couple more songs. So this cover record gave us some distance and some space from it, and also gave us some perspective, because obviously these songs we did on the cover record are incredibly good songs, and that's not to our credit, that's to the original composers. I mean, these guys wrote some amazing songs, So when you get to go in and study songwriting, and we're all professionals now, and we've all made a ton of records ourselves, so we've been through that process. And now to go back and revisit songs, not just as a fan, but as a musician with your instrument in your hand, you really study these songs from a different perspective. And, I think, it reminds me of how much fun I had growing up. As much as I always wanted to be in a band playing original songs, it's made me always appreciate, I'd say probably in the last 15 years or so, I've kind of been part of, Metal Allegiance and Hail and some other kind of all-star jams and stuff like that I've done in these cruises and stuff. And it's made me appreciate how these cover songs are the songs that we all sing together in our community. And when we get together on stage and play them, we're not guys and girls who get up and play 12-bar blues. That was a different generation, right? And we don't do that. So we get up and we play hard rock and heavy metal songs that were the backdrop to our youth. And so it's fun to pull these songs out of the record collection again, dust them off, and dig into them as professionals ourselves. And that quite honestly has been as fun of a summer hobby for me as anything has.
Yeah.
I surf and kickbox in between playing bass, quite honestly. Bass playing is still my treasure. It's my passion. It's my hobby. It's my profession. And I'm happy to say that, because we all go through seasons in our careers when we get burned out. Maybe we get tired of working with the same people. We get tired of playing the same songs. We get tired of being on sort of the professional treadmills we all get on. at times where we all have to go make the donuts. And,
Yeah,
you know, and quite honestly, this has been kind of a fun year, you know,